Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today, we're going to soak in something a little different, something bubbly, you could say.
Sounds refreshing.
It is. We're
Oh,
diving into Mom Bomb, and no, it's not about explosive parenting moments.
okay, good to know.
They make bath and body products, all natural stuff, but here's where it gets really interesting. They donate 100%, yeah, you heard that right, 100% of their profits to families in crisis.
Wow, that's a bold move.
Right. So we're talking meals, house cleaning, childcare, direct support, and we've got a ton to unpack here. Their website, marketing materials, even some stories about their work.
All right, so let's get into it.
What really jumped out at me looking at all this is how they've built this whole business around giving back. It's not just a feel-good marketing thing, it's like their whole identity.
Yeah, and that's what's really fascinating. They've woven social impact into the DNA of their business model, which is a growing trend we're seeing with a lot of companies these days, especially in this market.
So how does this actually work? Because, yeah, their website talks about like natural alternatives and being free of all the bad stuff, which is great, but they're also selling a feeling, right?
Absolutely. They're tapping into this whole idea of conscious consumerism, people,
Yeah.
particularly their target audience, which seems to be moms and folks buying gifts. They want brands that reflect their values.
Right. So it's kind of like treat yourself, but also feel good about it because you're contributing to something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not just selling a product, they're offering a way to make a difference. And that resonates with a lot of people, especially these days.
I can see that. And speaking of the products, they've got everything, bath soaks, balms, lotions, even baby stuff. They really push the whole natural ingredient thing, even talk about the downsides of like those fake fragrances and all.
Yeah, that focus on natural ingredients is definitely on trend. But what I find really interesting is how they incorporate real stories into their marketing.
Mhm.
Like a quote from a single mom who was struggling and they helped her out, things like that.
It definitely adds a personal touch. Makes you feel like you're part of something bigger than just buying a bath bomb, right?
For sure. You're buying into this idea of a community, a shared purpose,
Mm.
which is a powerful marketing tool when you think about it.
So let's get into that a little more. They have this separate organization, the Mom Bomb Giving Organization. What's the deal with that? How do they actually choose who to help?
So from what they've shared, it seems like they're pretty rigorous about it. Like they focus on families facing really tough situations.
Okay, so give me an example. What kind of situations are we talking about?
Think like single parents who are really struggling financially or families dealing with medical issues, stuff like that. And it's not just like a one-time thing either.
No.
They try to provide ongoing support, like tailored to what each family needs.
Wow, that's really impressive. But okay, I got to ask, scaling that while still giving away all their profits, that's got to be a challenge, right? Especially with all this talk about expanding, household cleaners, baby gear, even maybe investors. They're not thinking small.
You're not wrong. That balancing act, huge growth while staying true to that mission, that's the tightrope they're walking. And they seem pretty aware of it too, based on their investor pitch.
Oh yeah, what are they saying in the pitch?
It's pretty bold. They're talking about disrupting the whole consumer goods industry. They even, get this, they compare themselves to Newman's Own.
Whoa. Okay, big goals. But I mean, Newman's Own, they're known for the giving back thing, right?
Yeah.
So I get the comparison, but can they really pull it off on that scale?
I think that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
How do you maintain those ethical commitments when you're talking about, massive operations, outside investors, all that?
Right, because those investors, they're going to want their return.
Exactly. But here's what they emphasize. Transparency, big time. And community engagement. They're betting on this idea that if they're super open about everything, showing the families they're helping, the impact of the donations, they can build a really dedicated customer base.
So it's kind of like they're saying, join us on this journey.
Yeah, like be a part of something bigger. And they are finding an audience too, at least online. Millions of TikTok views, a whole network of affiliates, even some mainstream stuff like they were on TV, had a product in a movie, apparently.
See, that's smart. They're hitting it from all angles. Social media, traditional media, getting people talking.
Definitely. It's a very modern marketing strategy. But the question remains, can they keep this up as they grow? Can you really have that much growth that fast without maybe things slipping through the cracks?
Yeah, it's a tough one because even with the best intentions, sometimes when a company gets big, those values, they can get diluted. And then there's the whole issue of competition. I mean, the natural products market, it's booming. How do they stand out from the crowd, especially if they're sticking to this whole profit donation thing?
Right, because everyone's trying to be the good company these days. It's a selling point for sure. But it's easy to say, right? Actually doing it, especially at scale, that's the hard part.
Totally. And their investor pitch, they know that's the question. So they kind of highlight what they're calling like unfair advantages. Their CEO, apparently, she's got this crazy track record, like big name brands, big successes.
So they've got the experience.
Yeah, and they say their nonprofit structure actually helps them be more cost effective, which is kind of interesting.
Huh, okay. It makes sense. Less overhead, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, they're confident. But, like we were talking about, even with all that, fast growth always comes with growing pains.
Totally.
Hmm.
What are some of the things they should be watching out for, you think? Just thinking big picture here.
Well, keeping the quality up when you're producing more and more, that's always tough. And then making sure their suppliers, like where they're getting their ingredients from, that all of that is ethical, sustainable, all that good stuff.
Which, let's be real, that stuff can get complicated really fast.
Oh, absolutely. And then, of course, there's the whole investor thing. Keeping everyone happy, balancing those priorities, profits versus giving back. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, it's easy to say you're going to stay true to your values, but when you've got people breathing down your neck for bigger profits, it's a different story.
For sure. But, one thing I do have to give them credit for, looking at their brand guide, they really double down on this whole authenticity and transparency thing.
How so?
They're not pretending to be perfect. Like, they actually acknowledge that this is hard, that there are challenges. And I think that might actually work in their favor. Because, let's face it, people are kind of over all the fake polished stuff these days.
Yeah, it's refreshing to see a brand just be real.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're trying to do good, but we're not going to pretend it's always easy.
Exactly. It's like they're inviting people to be a part of the process, bumps and all. So to bring it back, are they all talk? I don't think so.
Me neither. They're walking the walk so far.
Yeah, they've got a good product, a clear mission, and they seem to know what they're doing, at least from a business perspective. But only time will tell, right? Can they keep this up as they get bigger?
Exactly. It's a fascinating experiment they've got going. And it raises some big questions about the future of business. Can you be both successful and compassionate? Can you scale that up without losing your soul? Mom Bomb says yes. What do you think?
Let us know.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.